Black women over 40, healthcare is the part that will wreck your early retirement if you do not have a plan. This isn't to scare you. It's to prepare you and plan. We're going to do this together. I'm going to hold your hand because guess what? I need you to hold my hand. This is a territory that a lot of us tend to push off to later and think about it when it's the time to think about it. But in all reality, think about it now and position yourself to where you will actually have what you need when that time comes. We're going to be talking about the cost, planning, and what to consider before retiring, aka leaving your job and things like that. Before we get into it, I'm sitting here thinking, you retire. This is for those who employer does not give you insurance when you walk away. It's like you're a prisoner because if you leave, you don't get the healthcare insurance. If you stay, you get your paycheck, you get the healthcare, and then you lose out on time. But yet, if I'm not mistaken, if you take the COBRA, which is hella high, you get to keep your plan for about 15 months after the plan that your employer gave you, but at a higher rate because they were paying a certain part of the premium and you paid a piece of it. We got to think about this, ladies. We have to think about this. This here is definitely a moment that I didn't put into perspective. Okay, why healthcare can make or break you in your retirement planning? Because that scenario I just gave is like you have to work forever until you get to 65 so you can get the Medicare. No, it got to be a better way. It got to be a better way. For many of us, healthcare can be one of the most expensive expense for us in retirement. You know, you may have your mortgage and you might have whatever else or rent. That can be a high expense as well. But healthcare can be the next runner up because everything else can be, you know, kind of moderate depending on the need of it. And you sit back and think about the insurance part of it, but yet you still have other things like your specialist, your dental, your vision, and anything else that might come up. That can be additional. It might still be in that plan, but say and sit back and think if you have to get like some work done, sometimes getting a crown or a bridge, you know, when you get older, you need all these things that, you know, you didn't think about. Crowns, you know, you get crowns now and you ain't even there. Fillings, whatever that might look like, that might be additional. Sometimes the insurance don't even want to pay for that. So you have to think accordingly. I'm sitting here talking out loud and I am just amazing myself because this is real. This is real. Then you have the gap part. The gap part. This is the gap years of retirement. Say if you retire at 50, right? Everybody's banking on the Medicare. So now you have all those years, depending on where you are, 59 and a half, 55, 50, whatever. You have to wait for that to kick in. So what are you going to do? I just did a video on planning. It's like 5 mistakes. Go check that video out. This is where you have to sit back and plan accordingly so you don't get caught up in this healthcare monopoly. I don't know what made this come to. You remember back in the day, well, you know, back in the day, weddings were still for me because, you know, I was born in the late 70s. Even in the 80s, weddings were out of control. That's when they wore the big poofs on the shoulders and whatnot. But sit back and think about how healthcare has evolved. I'm going to tie that wedding part in there. How healthcare has evolved, where it was something simple, then it evolved and they come to realize how they can monopolize and get more from the consumer. Same thing in the wedding industry. Weddings were at one point just, when it all started, it was your father handing you over, you know, in no far times. Father handing you over. And him and the other father were exchanging goods. You might have got land and you might have got a goat. You didn't even know who this dude was. But this is how families kept things, generational wealth, and kept life functioning. You know, daughters wasn't like, it was like you were money. And then when the churches came about, they figured out a way to bring it in the church. And then they figured out how to do it. Girl, don't get me started. I feel that's how healthcare is. Healthcare figured out a way to keep it going. To keep it going. Now, weddings is $1 billion industry. Healthcare, $1 billion industry. Now, we have to figure out how we can finagle healthcare. You know you can claim healthcare expenses on your taxes, right? Let me know in the comments that you are aware of how to claim your healthcare expenses on your taxes. I need to know that. But as we all know, when we're dealing in these gap years, when you leave early, you're leaving your employer's healthcare coverage behind, and you have to figure out on your own how you're going to take care of yourself, right? We got a plan. We can't go off vibes on this one. We got a plan. So we have to figure out what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, and what's the best way to do it. Now, you can definitely go and pay cash, but we're gonna dive deeper into that. We're gonna dive deeper into that. But I just want to. We're just having the conversation, the truth about what nobody talks about, and how it can definitely put you in a bind. So we're just having a conversation, and then we're gonna expand on it later. So, what to price out before you decide to retire? What to price out? How does that look? I wrote a few things down here. And this is like a little checklist. Before you leave your job, it's like, what's your monthly premium target? Because you know what you can pay, what you've been paying for at your employer. But if you leave, you're not going to be getting that full paycheck or, even allocated for it. What is your expense, your premium target that you're willing to pay for some healthcare insurance? Deductibles, out of pocket, we hit on that earlier. Prescriptions, what you might need, your prescription cost. Doctors you need to access. Sometimes if you don't have insurance, you can do self-pay, you can have financial assistance, things like that. I talk highly about financial assistance for a reason, and I'm definitely going to tap into that. So when you keep hearing me say that, I'm saying it for a reason, okay? Doctors you may need. You had a certain insurance. That doctor may not take that insurance. So what are you going to do? But you like that doctor because he or she takes care of you. They don't just want to push pills in your face. They're giving you other things to do to take care of yourself. They're holding you accountable. They're being that physician that your primary care. They're being that for you. So, dental, vision, that emergency buffer. These are things we have to think about. These are things that we have to think about. We have to build that into our retirement number. I talked about that in our 5 mistakes. So go check that video out. Go check it out. We have to build these things into our financial number. And we have to make sure that we are being realistic with ourselves. Because I don't want to have the conversation and put that scare. Because now it's feeling like you can't go nowhere. You're stuck in this desk forever. And that's not the case. It's not the case. I know so many people that can retire right now, but they're like, no. And it makes me think, why? You done sold your house. You done retired from somewhere else. You can retire from here. What's holding you back from not wanting to retire? How much do you actually need to live a fulfilled life? I don't know. So we have to put healthcare as a line item in our expenses, inflation and things like that, because things are going to go up regardless. This world is not going to wait for us, but yet we're still not going to sit here and hold our life back because we are afraid to live our life because of what society is doing. I feel like the more and more deeper we're getting into this retirement talk, it's making you feel like they're not even golden handcuffs anymore. They're straight rusted handcuffs. And it's like, why? Why? So what are some 3 ways to remove some stress for healthcare and retirement? What are some 3 things that we can do here? Semi-retire. Semi-retire where you can work part-time. Now, it's a catch with that part-time. I'm a firm believer. This is for me. This is me and my opinion. So please don't come for me. 16 to 20 hours. I feel like when you get to anything over in the 30s, you're too close to 40. You're too close to 40. And it also depends on what you're doing. I just recently found out that Costco, we all love a good club, right? We all love a good, shopping club, BJ's, Costco's. What's the other one? Sam's. Costco's is one of the best part-time jobs for retirees who wants to retire early, and you get a supplemental income and things like that. Might be changing my tune, okay? Part-time work with benefits. But then you sit back and think, how long can you actually do it? What if that job doesn't let you take it? What if that job doesn't let you leave with it as well? Then you have to sit there until you're about 65 till you get your Medicare. I feel like there should be some type of reward for working so long and aging. You paid your dues. Now, here, America, we're here to give you this because you did all you can do to help, the economy. But it's nothing like that. It's nothing like that. Option B, that was option one. Option B, build a healthcare fund separate from your emergency fund. And we talk about that, push to the side, healthcare expenses and things like that, and find ways that how it can help you in the long run, i.e. on your taxes. And option C, delay retirement. And by delaying retirement, you can kind of like lock in until you can have like a 6 to 12 month runway before you get to your Medicare. I know that's how it's going to be for some of us, but at the end of the day, we're still able-bodied. And some of us, we have to figure out a way to not be, how can I say it, a prisoner to what society has for us. I feel like there's so much more to life. There's so much more to life. And we just have to sit back and plan accordingly. I'm going to be doing all kind of spreadsheets for us, checklists for us to make sure that we get ourselves in order, because there's more to life than working to an age where we want to enjoy. I feel like because when you get to a certain age, you can't do certain things. And you want to do things while you are able. I'm getting too personal now. I'm getting too personal. But early retirement doesn't mean no work. It can mean no stress. So that's why when I say a part-time job to kind of buffer over, remember, you still have all these other things that you can pull out. And you also, sometimes you don't need, if you have a 401k and you have money, sometimes you may have to pull out chunks of it. You could pull out just a little bit. And then the financial advisor will let you know how long it'll last you. I just recently heard that Social Security won't be around at 2035. I won't even be at retirement age at 2035. I had to sit back and do that. I was counting. I was like, I'll be like 2 years from or 3 years from that 65 mark. 62 mark. But wait a minute. When is it? Social Security starts at 62. Medicare is 65. Yeah. We have to change our mindset. And what does freedom looks like for us in our older years? So again, nobody's situation is the same. Nothing's cookie cutter. We have to sit and see what actually works for us. And I do want to say I appreciate all you lovely ladies who left things in my previous video speaking about how you retired early, retired at 40, retired at whatever, and you never look back and what you're doing and things like that, because this is what us women over 40 need. This is what us Black women need. We need community so we can see what can possibly work for us. Again, everything may not work for each of us, but it can work for some, and we have to see how that looks. So I thank you again, and I truly appreciate you for that. So my lovely Black women over 40, when you plan for healthcare, early retirement becomes real. Okay? If you want me to do a healthcare planning checklist, comment health down below and let me know where you are in your retirement planning and things like that. And if you even thought about it or you're not thinking about it, or what's your job offering, Leave it in the comments so we can all chime in together and have this dialogue. And I want to say thank you, and I'll catch you in the next conversation. We're going to get this retirement thing in order.